of course, was your standing up to and eventually prevailing over SEIU, biggest union in the world, Service Employees International Union. I've never met Lou Dodd, but can you just pretend I'm your daughter back in Indiana and you're telling me about the experience of the evening?
Well, Lou Dobbs is a gentleman, and he's very thorough. He knows what he's doing, and what I like is, I was only on a short time tonight, but he was able to get several points in over the time I was on there, and he was just so gracious about the whole thing.
He does that a lot. I call it putting an aircraft carrier into a Dixie cup. I was asking myself, I've been on the air with Dave Bago and Sarah hours, and I guess total of 5 hours, and I was sitting there at the end of that interview with Lou Dobbs, and I was trying to think, what important did they have to leave out, because they had about 6 minutes. I can't think of anything important you left out, or that you had to leave out, or that Lou had to leave out. You got in the part about the SEIU intimidating you, trying to break you down. What was their objective? 1,000 cuts, try to break you financially, try to break you psychologically, to get you to sign that neutrality agreement, which is in that box right there I'm pointing at under the broadcast table. You were nice enough to send me a copy. It really is not much of a neutrality thing, but we all understand that. I don't think anything major was left out. He had to leave out a lot of what I call the funny papers of the Dave Bago story, like the little 7-year-old girl on Halloween who gave you the anti-company, that's the Executive Management Services, Dave Bago's company, and little kids doing trick and treat. She was supplied the anti-Dave Bago flyers from that van across the street where they were monitoring her moves. There was a lot of fun stuff. But you got the salient points across, up to and including something which sounds so illegal. If you had signed that neutrality agreement, you would have to provide the union with the names and home addresses of all your employees.
Yeah, and that's the thing that one of the things that bothered me the most, I thought, was just terrible. And the reason they want to do it is because when you sign the neutrality agreement, it reverts to card check, and all they have to do is go out and sign up 50% of your employees plus one. And they know they can do that because they'll go follow them home, beat their doors in, and have them sign them. They'll get them in the streets as they're leaving work, follow them to their cars, whatever they got to do to intimidate and coerce them. That's what they'll do, and it's so sad that these people had to be subjected to this type of thing.
Well, you said that you suggested to the union that you have an election. Presumably it would have been monitored and under rules, and if the union won, you would live with it, and if not, get out of my hair. And they said, no, we don't want to do that. Is that all they said? They didn't defend their non-desire to have an election?
Well, they had a couple excuses, and I haven't talked about this before, but one of them is that, well, it takes too long to have an election, which most people don't know what the NLRB rules are, but if they petition for election, only the union can do it. The company can't do it. The union can do it. It's supposed to be held within 42 days. Now, sometimes the unions prolong those, if they don't think they got enough people to vote for them, or sometimes the companies do that. But like we had an election against the machinist union about 2 years ago down in southern Ohio, and they petitioned for election. I immediately said, okay, let's do this by the book. I want it in 42 days. I want to make sure we do everything professionally in the right way, and I don't want any monkey business going on. We did it in 42 days, and we beat the union 2-1.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and but we did things by the book. We did them right. And too many times companies anymore, when they get into these situations, they want to play games with it. And what they need to do, like we did, is we sat down, and for the 3 weeks leading up to the election, I went over to Middletown, Ohio, and sat down with my employees once a week and talked to them and said, understand, this is the process. This is what you could expect and what you can't expect, and we're going to be totally honest with you. And by the way, if you signed a union card, because they had to get union cards signed to petition for the election, we had 25 full-time employees at that time in that plant. And so we figured they had about 17 or 18 of them sign. And that means we had to turn around a big portion of the workforce. And a couple interesting things. On my first trip over there, I was telling them that because you sign a union card doesn't mean you have to vote for the union. You can vote however you want. It's secret ballot. That's the key, secret ballot. And nobody's going to know. I won't know. The union won't know. The government won't know. You could see the people visibly just relax in the room. And after the meeting, I had 3 ladies come up to me. Our workforce was about half female. And they came up and they said, Mr. Biko, thank you for telling us the truth.
You know, I claim no supernatural powers, but just relying on history, something tells me that the union would have been very, very fortunate and successful if they had gotten the workers up to where you automatically on your own let them be, conditions, wages, everything. In other words, there was nothing in it for executive management services employees. It wasn't that they had a Gaddafi as a boss and the union was going to liberate them and things were going to be great. They could not achieve what you voluntarily offered. When we get back together, there is one thing Lou Dobbs had to leave out. He had time for Wisconsin, but he didn't have time for Boeing in South Carolina.
No, he didn't get into
that. We will. I was so enraptured with his appearance on the Lou Dobbs show on Fox News tonight and hearing elements of his story right now as he has come to visit us and fortunately let us take him to dinner afterward. That just never occurred to me to mention the name of his book, which is a weapon, really a weapon for freedom. And the title, of course, is Devil at My Doorstep. Professional writers would have interrupted me 189 times in this many minutes that Dave's been on to get the book title out there. Devil at My Doorstep by Dave Bego, B-E-G-O.